Page 6. Now, page 6 has a lot of text on it. It's about adding decimals and whole numbers, and I need to be very careful here. Whole numbers, looks like he's going to be giving me some information. And so I'm going to have to watch carefully for my instructions. I don't have a numbered list of instructions, but I don't have to have my instructions given to me in a numbered list. Sometimes they're just given to me in sentence form. I'm going to start reading at the top. Whole numbers without decimal points can easily be written as decimal numbers. Just put a decimal point to the right of the whole number. Okay, I've practiced this before. 4 is the same thing as 4 with a decimal point. 7 is the same thing as 7 with a decimal point. Cool. I understand. I've read this part and I've understood it. It's giving me some information. Electronic calculators usually display whole numbers with decimal points. If you push 4 on a calculator, most calculators will display 4 followed by a decimal point. There's a decimal point there. Okay. I remember reading about this in book 2. Just showing me that whole numbers, I can write 4, or I can write 4 and no tenths. 4 followed by a decimal point. 4 whole units, 4 whole units. 25 whole units, 25 whole units. 156 whole units, 156 whole units. Write the whole numbers below as decimal numbers. Okay, so here's some instructions given as a sentence. It's just telling me to write the whole numbers below as decimal numbers. 5 whole units is the same thing as 5 whole units with a decimal point. 23 is the same thing as 23 with a decimal point. 14 is the same thing as 14 decimal point. And 283 is the same thing as 283 with a decimal point. I'm going to continue. When you do an addition or a subtraction problem that has a whole number written without a decimal point, you should put a decimal to the right of the whole number. That decimal point will help you rewrite the problem correctly in vertical form. So it's giving me some information and it's told me why. It says when you do an addition or subtraction, okay, put a decimal to the right of the whole number. The right, that's this side. Notice how my decimal points are always on this side. They're always to the right. And now they're telling me why. That decimal point will help you rewrite the problem correctly in vertical form. Each problem below has at least one whole number. Put a decimal point to the right of the whole number to express it as a decimal number. So here it's telling me to put a decimal point to the right of the whole number to express it as a decimal number. So I'm just going to go to the right of my whole number. I'm going to find my whole number, go to the right, and put a decimal point. This next part is key. It'll let me know if you read the instructions, even if you didn't follow along with this video, that's okay. But if you didn't read the instructions, that's not okay. So this next sentence is very important. You don't have to add or subtract. I'm simply practicing placing my decimal point, changing a decimal, rewriting a whole number with a decimal point. 4 and 2/10 plus 3, decimal point. 12 and 6/10 plus 7, decimal point. $9.22 plus $4, decimal point. I want you to practice writing in the decimal point for each of these numbers. You are not actually adding or subtracting anything. You're just practicing writing in that decimal point. Please follow written instructions because perfect practice makes perfect. And page 6 is letting you practice an important step that often gets skipped and causes a lot of problems all the way from 4th grade all the way until middle school. Please practice properly.